Got it. Stream the meeting, setting it up. This is something new that we've started doing. So if you miss a meetup, hopefully you can go back and do a replay. All right. And then, yeah. Okay, cool. No, let me go. Oh. Let's go back to slideshow. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to, let me check, making sure I'm in frame. Okay, great. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our 5th Remix NYC meetup. Obviously, we are doing a St. Patrick's theme today. Woo! I did start it. Is it going? It looks like it. If you go to our site, okay, you're good? Good. Okay, we're good. So welcome. We are your organizers. Hi, I'm Adrian. I'm a developer advocate at Cockroach Labs. We also have Quentin Geddes and Stephen Lau. So they're over here. Yeah. You okay? What? Okay. I changed your... we always like to start with the code of conduct. So this has been adapted from the Remix Conf code of conduct. You can read the short version there. The even shorter version is don't be a jerk. And we ask you to go a step further and actively be nice to everyone. Eli knows what I'm talking about. I stole that from Queens.js. Also, bit of housekeeping. If you need the restroom, you can go behind the screen and down the hall and choose any of the doors that are not the stairwell. Please don't use the bathroom in the stairwell. We also have a Discord. So this is the Remix Discord. If you're not part of it, feel free to join it. There is an NYC channel underneath the meetups. You can reach any of us through that. Also, we have a YouTube channel. The January meetup and the February meetup should be up there now, and we are live streaming. Hello, internets. Hello, world. As always, we have a call for speakers. We love when people come and speak. We've had a few outside speakers. If you don't come speak, then we're just gonna keep making Quentin speak, and he's getting tired. But scan the QR code. There's a form where you can submit, or just really come talk to one of us. It's not like we have a lot of people banging down our doors. But if you are wanting to submit a talk to maybe a big conference, like not this year's Remix Conf, but maybe next year's Remix Conf, or one of the many JavaScript JavaScript conferences out here, use us as your test. Like, we're happy to give you feedback and help you, get your talk together. Also, always looking for sponsors. So luckily, we kind of have a standing sponsor with Cockroach Labs, allowing us to have this wonderful space that will be only better once it gets warmer outside and we can use the outside space. But always happy to take people who want to bring pizza or food or anything else that we can eat. We like food. Our next meetup, so we aim for the 3rd Wednesday of every month. It's not happening next month. Unfortunately, the 3rd Wednesday is when I'm leaving to go to Remix Miami. And so we're going to do it a week earlier on April 12th. So that's when it's going to be. Look for the meetup announcement to go out whenever we put that together. And enjoy this corgi and the flowers, because it's spring, or it will be. We want to thank our sponsors. First, we want to say thank you to Directus for providing us with the pizza and beverages. Anybody from Directus want to say a little bit about yourself? All right.
First thing I'll say, enjoy the za, enjoy the drinks. Thank you for coming. We're all a big fan of Remix as well. We like really, hanging out with other developers. I actually met Alex on one of the meetups. He works with us now as well. So, it's always great to hang out with other developers and learn more about tools and stuff. And that includes Directus. So Directus is kind of like a headless CMS and a backend as a service combined. So especially when you're building something with something like Remix or any other framework or any other tool that has something to do with something with data, which is kind of everything, right? You might know the GIF direct is a shot. It also works with Cockroach conveniently, so make sure to give that a shot. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm going to try not to trip. And then second, we'd like to thank CockroachDB for providing this wonderful space for us to use. And I have some slides. So for those of you who are unaware of CockroachDB, we like to say we're the most highly evolved database on the planet. Scale fast, survive anything, thrive anywhere. And we have been promoting our CockroachDB serverless. So if you want to get started using CockroachDB, we have a wonderful free tier. And if you are familiar with Postgres, you're going to feel right at home. So it's like a serverless function. We've applied that to the database. So we have elastic scale, consumption-based pricing. And you start off with 5 gigabytes of storage and 250 RUs per month. But we are also open source, just like Directus is also open source. Yeah, we love all open source. So you can even go to our GitHub repo, download it, and run a single node on your computer, or deploy multiple nodes all over the world. It's up to you. But if you scan this URL, if you scan this QR code, it's going to credit this meetup for any signups that we get, which is pretty cool. And I actually updated the link this time too. Yay. And then we have Cockroach University. So this is our free online courses. If you want to learn more about CockroachDB, SQL, or anything else, yeah, these are our courses. And sometimes you can get free swag for completing courses. So at one point they had like these trucker hats, I think, and T-shirts. So if you like swag, take a course. And then the cool thing, what I think is the cool thing, is we have the CockroachDB definitive guide that came out, and you can download a free full copy of it. I think it's as a PDF by scanning this code. So if you're interested in learning more about how CockroachDB works, there you go. Then also we just want to mention that RemixConf is coming up May 9th through 11th. You can find more information on the Remix site. I will be there. So if anybody else happens to go, please come find me. Cockroach Labs is going to be sponsoring, so I'll be at a booth as well. But it's a great conference because if you can get your work to send you, there's a lot of interesting talks, but then they also kind of build in a day of exploring Salt Lake City, Utah. So you can do they put together big soccer games and hiking and one wheel riding and things like that. So it's fun. Okay, now is the time where we do things that we like to call quick pitches. So if there's anything that you would like to announce, if you're hiring, if you're looking for a job, you're working on a library, any of that, now is the time. And we have Steven who's going to go around with the mic if anybody has a pitch to give.
Hey, my name's Drew. I'm a full stack developer working with WordPress, JavaScript, React, all that fun stuff. Currently looking for employment. So if you are offering healthcare, would be super happy to join your team and talk more about that.
Nice.
Hey, I'm Wayne. I'm a front-end web developer, but I have back-end experience, mainly with JavaScript and React. Currently unemployed, so I'm looking for a new role. And so if you know of anyone hiring a front-end developer, please reach out to me.
Awesome. Thank you. Anybody else? All right. Cool. Thank you for your pitches. And now let's get into it. Tonight's speaker, you might have seen him wandering around and eating a slice of pizza. Also one of our co-organizers. We have Quentin Geddes.
Thanks. Please don't. Yeah. Hi. I didn't plug it in. Thanks. People are alive. I love it. Oh. Give it a second to load. Nice. Hello. Happy St. Patrick's Day from your friends at Remix NYC. Thanks everybody for coming. Thanks Directus for sponsoring, giving us some some really good pizza. So thank you. To tell you a little bit about myself before we get into everything, I'm Quentin. Kind of just like all over the place. I'm a generalist, full stack engineer. Really love healthcare. Love design, back end, front end, apps, databases, architecture, pretty much everything that has a chip in it besides cars. I love it. So let's talk about what we're building today. Really excited, working on some really cool things. And the first thing is that we're using Directus as a CMS to tie into Remix to power what a Remix blog would look like. The second thing is Rainbow Kit. It's our like theoretical pot of gold at the end of our rainbow. Rainbow there would be Directus, and Rainbow Kit is that pot of gold. And then Remix, obviously, because we're here for a remix. So what's a CMS and why is it cool? I know that when you say CMS, sometimes not a lot of people know what you're talking about. And a CMS is a content management system. And what that means is that it allows non-technical stakeholders to update content. So in this case, it's a blog. We allow anybody to write articles, schedule them, publish them, but it could be anything, right? It could be the content that's going on the front of our marketing page. It could be the content that's being served in a docs section of your website. It allows us to save a ton of time because we're allowing those non-technical stakeholders to go in, update content without having to push any changes anywhere, which saves us time and money. And it simplifies a ton of workflows. And then Rainbow Kit. So what does Rainbow Kit actually do? It adds a wallet connection to your website, super easy, and it's customizable. So we're gonna focus on Directus first. So about Directus, their mission is to democratize data for everybody, and their stats are really good. They have 22 million plus Docker polls. They have over 21,000 GitHub stars, and their Discord community is really active. I joined it a couple weeks ago, and it has been fantastic. So credit to Directus for starting that thriving community. So they offer backend as a service. They allow you to build internal tools, or they let you build headless CMS. As they were saying, it's like this combo of everything. And what I found really compelling for this talk was their headless CMS. As somebody that's in contracting, I like to make sure that when I'm done with a project, I am done with a project. And the best way to be done with a project is by making sure that the contact at that company can go in and change anything that you do super easily. I think the worst feeling is getting an Upwork message or a Slack message or a text message saying like, oh my God, like you misspelled something on the front end, like you got to change it now. And Directus helps fix that by letting them just go in, edit things when they need to. So Directus is BYOD, which stands for Bring Your Own Database. So you can connect any of these, CockroachDB, our sponsor, Postgres, MySQL, Oracle DB, MS SQL, SQLite. So for this talk, we are of course going to be using CockroachDB. They are fantastic. They let you set up clusters really easily. And for this talk, we're going to be setting up a single node database. And it was so easy, I did it in like 10 minutes. So first things first, number one, can everybody see the text? Yeah, fantastic. So first things first is, and we'll get into this, but Directus gives us a great GitHub example. And the first thing that we need to do is we need to modify the Docker Compose that they give us. And we need to add CockroachDB. And this is super simple. It's just in the Docker Compose, adding CockroachDB as an instance, spinning it up, and then adding the Directus. That's already there. All you have to do is modify the DB creds by adding CRDB, and it works. It's like really that simple. So getting started, super easy. You clone the repo, git clone directus examples. It looks like this on the right. Let's see if I can zoom in. I can. It's really easy. The README is wonderful. And all we have to do, git clone, and then we move the important folders over to our new repo. So for this example, we have a March meetup, and we're going to move the remix folder and the directus folder over to that new repo. And then all we have to do, literally, is run docker compose up, and we've modified it. And we have an example running at our 8055 port. And in the README, we already have an email and a password, and we can just log in. This has been the easiest setup of a CMS that I have ever seen. So let's take a second, explore the GUI. So we're going to go over, I believe it's right here. So this is the directus GUI. It is really easy to understand. So we have collections, which essentially let us create different tables of content. We have an articles one right now. We have users. So really easy to add users. I added myself. We have files that we can upload. And we have a really great documentation section built in right in the GUI, which helped me out a bunch. So whatever engineer built that, give them a high five, because this was really great to go to and just read. So now that we have the directus Docker Compose up, we have that running. All we need to do is get the Remix app up and running, and that's super simple. Anybody who has ever worked with Remix, all you need to do is cd into the folder, run npm install. They have a wonderful example.m for you. So you're going to copy that, the .env example to .env, and then you're going to run the app. So when that goes, we have a really nice Remix app running here. And it's already styled. We have our articles pulling in the index page. And if we click on one of these, we have an articles page. And of course, we get everything that's pulled in. I've been playing with some of the content and with some of the styles. But the articles that they give you, if you pull the project fresh, it's like 10 different articles. You can see everything. It's really nice. So how does this actually work? So first, directus has a really nice SDK. And all you need to do to actually initialize that is this line. So you're calling a new directus with the URL, and you can either authenticate with an email and password or with a static token. We are doing it with an email and password. It's running this, and that's it, really simple. Then in our index route loader, so anybody who's used Remix before knows that Remix makes it really, really simple to have your data loading and your data rendering in one file. And what that looks like is having a data loader and your actual React component live in the same file. So in our index route, which is our local host, looks like this, is a list of all of our articles. Right now we have one. And all it's doing is it's getting that directus client that we saw in our last slide, and it's asking directus for all of the items in that articles collection. And it's asking for the specific fields. So it's asking for everything in the collection. Then it's also asking for the author. So you can see that coming through down here. And all of the things in the articles collection comes through right here, like our title, an excerpt, and the author. Really, really cool. We're going to format it quick, and then we're going to just return it as JSON like you would do with any other kind of REST, GraphQL, any kind of call that you would make in a loader. So in So what fields are available for us to actually use here? Because one of the most common questions when you're using a CMS is like, can it actually work with my workflow? Does it have all of the things? I know it has an input and I know it has a date, but like, what are the other fields that are available? And the too long don't read here is so many. So we'll go into this in a second, but they have a bunch of different actual text fields like inputs, markdown, text area. They have a nice WYSIWYG, which is what you see is what you get. They have a bunch of selection things, drop downs that are really easy to set up, maps, date times, things like that. And then they have relational things. So for example, our article collection has a relational field that maps a user to each article, which lets us get what user is writing what article. So jump to the browser and kind of go into what that looks like. So if we go into our settings and into our data model, literally your imagination is the limitation on what you can create here. So I created a nice little article here. This data model saves automatically. It's really nice. We have basic settings down here. And then if I wanted to create a field, I can click new field and we see all of these different options. And it's really, really simple to do. Let's say I want a new input and I want it to be something like short description. And this kind of short description is something that I would show with the meta tag in Remix. I can save that. Automatically it saves super quick. And when I go over to my article collection, I now have a new short description field and we can customize this page to be in whatever order we want. I'm going to just, write test, save it, and it saves just like that. It's just that easy. Now, if I wanted to write another article, I can, and it's super easy to do that as well. Let me choose a user, a title. I'm going to call this test. I'm going to say that it's published. I'm going to say happy Wednesday. This is what like a WYSIWYG editor is, which means what you see is what you get. You have all of your tools from bold, italics, all of your headers, things like that. It's really nice. And I can even use that description field. Super, super easy. And I'm going to use this exact image because I really like it. It's okay. Copying the actual base. But I have this really nice article. I have it saved. And if I go over to my Remix app, it will be published, which is fantastic. So it's really easy to create new content. All you're doing is either going right into the GUI, doing it yourself, or you're letting a external stakeholder, somebody at a different company, go in and do it. Really nice, really easy. Now let's jump to Rainbow. And for Rainbow, they also have great docs and example projects. So to integrate Rainbow, all we need to do is use npm install these things, and we have to modify our root. Not as easy as Directus. There's a ton of things for us to do here. We have to add all of our different imports here. We have to modify our root TypeScript file to create these clients. We're going to include the style sheet, which is here. And then we have to wrap our actual default layout in the Rainbow Kit provider. And we also have to add the server dependencies to the bundle, which you can do in the remix.config. Really easy. All you need to do is add these 3 strings. If anyone has ever worked with a like Node.js sort of a package that is not available on the browser in Remix because it's server-side created, you know that you just have to polyfill it. For this, all we're going to do is add buffer as a polyfill, add it as an alias, and then add it to the global in the Android client. And that's really simple too. So then what we have is if we go back to our Remix app, we can click Connect Wallet, which is what we did. And with Rainbow Kit, we can scan the URL in Rainbow, which I don't have a thing to show my phone, but when you scan it, it'll pop up. I'm gonna hit connect. And as soon as I connect, you'll see that that went away. And you see that my wallet is actually here, which is really cool. So now I'd love to actually jump into some of the code, answer questions about Directus, about the config, and just kind of show how the code crumbles. So does anyone have any questions before I jump into things? Would like it to be kind of collab. If not, totally fine. Okay.
Does Rainbow Kit give you wallet access in both the server and the client?
That is a good question. So it can, and I believe what you would do is that you would save things to cookies, and then you would read the request.
Okay.
Any other questions before I jump into?
Because I've been sort of like actively looking at CMS to go with Remix. First of all, like, is there like kind of a good way, or have you looked into it, of like sharing kind of like user data between Directus and Remix? So like if I, my Remix application can see like, I'm going to show you this unpublished post because I know that, you are logged in, or...
Yeah, so you're asking like user auth between the two?
Yeah.
Yeah. So number one, Directus can be your backend as a service to begin with. So you can store all of your info in Directus and then use permissions and auth inside there. And you can also, if you wanted to, you can make that logic yourself as well, right? So depending on access level of user, decide whether or not you want to call Directus in the first place, or you can put that kind of control in Directus itself.
Cool. And
that makes sense.
Yeah. And then in terms of, if you were building like sort of this something for a client and they were really picky about having sort of their branding very sort of across the board, have you seen how Directus works in terms of like making it look like it's not Directus, or is that frowned upon, or?
No. So number one, Directus lets you control a lot of the branding in the actual graphical user interface itself using the settings. So in the client here, when we go into settings and we go into project settings, we can change like project color, logo, things like that. We can create custom CSS as well. So the actual graphical user interface of Directus is super customizable. And then the benefit of Directus, in my opinion, is that it's a really nice headless CRM or CMS. So you can easily control everything on the Remix side while letting the internal tooling still look great on the backside, but just having the internal tooling be just for the client and then control everything on the front end.
Awesome. Thank you.
Any other questions? Just going to go in and show you what the actual files look like. So this is the Directus folder from GitHub, from that example repo that I showed. It's super clean. All we did here was add our cockroach DB to the Docker Compose just to make it super easy. I love, as a developer experience, when I'm working in a project, all I needed to do is hit one command, have everything be ready for me. So we have that. Yeah. And as I was setting up the project, of course, you run into errors here and there, whether for me, it was that I wasn't including like a correct DB link, and that was popping up, and it was super helpful for me to actually debug. I thought you were talking about right now, and I was like, oh my God, what is erroring? No, it was super, super helpful. Across the board, the debug and developer experience has been great. So this is legit all I needed to do to run that interface. If anyone's not familiar with like a Docker Compose, all you're doing here is you're pulling Cockroach, the image from Docker Hub. You're saying that you want it to run on this port. You're starting a single node. That's it. And same thing for Directus. You are pulling the image and we are giving it volumes to have extensions and uploads and then setting the environment. So jumping over to Remix, can anyone not see my text? Is it okay? Fantastic. This project looks exactly like what a Remix project that you're familiar looks like. So we have an app folder here that has all of our Remix files, which are like our Remix config. We have our root, our routes, and as I was saying before, if we go to our basic route, we have this loader getting the Directus client, getting all of our articles. We're mapping through them, showing an article. And then if we were to look at one of these article IDs, super nice. All we're doing is using Directus to get the data up here and then returning it. And all we need to do is say, data.article.x, and we have access to those fields that we wrote or that a client wrote in the Directus GUI. So that supports our actual article, which is like our title, our excerpt, things like that. And as well, any of our actual relations, like author. So it's been really great.
So on the Remix side, Directus provides like a driver where all you got to do is input the connection string.
Yeah, exactly. So what they provide is looking for the client here. So we're importing Directus from the SDK. And all we're doing is providing that URL, which in this case is that URL that we got for the backend when we were setting everything up. And then we are putting in our email and password. And I can show you what our .env looks like right now. Really easy. It is just our URL, email, password. That's it. And then you're like off to the races. So it makes it super easy to, like for me, my wife wants to start a blog. I can make a simple Remix site, style it the way that she wants it, and allow her to add any content that she wants in like under an hour. So really super powerful, easy, great DX.
Cool.
Any other questions?
So I saw that Directus had a state or status, published, unpublished. Is that a special Directus thing? Is there somewhere in here where we have a
Nope. That's the way that I set up Directus is that everything came blank out of the box. So it essentially let me customize everything. And that's a field that I put in. So I can put in any dropdown. And if I go over to Directus and show you what that looks like, I just have this articles thing. I have an ID, which acts as the primary key. This is required. X out of there. But for me, the status was just a dropdown. It has a default value, and it can allow a null. And you have all of these different actual settings to allow you to customize. So in the interface, we have two choices, draft and published. And that's something that I set up myself.
So is there somewhere in here where we are only showing published articles?
Yeah, in the front end.
Okay.
And you can filter and have options on the Directus GUI for that as well. But it's essentially just, like a regular object. So I can ask for only published articles to come from the backend. Or if I want everything for whatever reason, I can filter it myself. But I can do that.
And then if I were someone who was an elite hacker and went in there and said, no, give me all of them, is there any way to stop? Like if this was front end controlled, I'm not sure I understand how.
So I was saying there's backend control, which is what you should do.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to, and I wasn't using it as like a publish thing, if you had a category, which was a drop down, and you wanted to filter by category on the front end, you could do that as well. But on the back end, you can filter and ask and say, only show published pieces.
Makes sense. Thanks.
Anything else? Awesome. Any code that you wanted to see that I didn't show? Awesome. This GitHub repo will be up at some point over the next week, so that y'all can see like how Cockroach works with Directus, how easy it is to set up, and you can pull it and set it up for yourself and take it for a spin. Did you raise your hand? Our mic runner was sleeping.
It's okay. It's okay. Does Directus like let you export schema to like some sort of file that lets you like import?
That's a fantastic.
I will hand the phone.
That's
off
a
to the
fantastic
person.
question that I do not know the answer to.
Thank you. Yes, it does. So we have a CLI as well where you run the server, or there is now an endpoint as well where you can get what we call a snapshot of the whole schema, and that saves to a YAML file or JSON or something else. Mostly JSON and YAML, honestly. And then you can use that as well to import it in different instances. So you can see what the difference is between two instances, so you can move certain parts from dev to prod, that kind of stuff. We're also looking more into an almost like, I don't know if you're familiar with AWS CDK, where it's like a very much like a code-based version of a schema. But right now, Directus was built with this idea that it mirrors whatever is in the database in terms of schema. So all of those fields that we're just making in here, they're just columns in the table as well, right? So it's like, it was built and designed around this idea that it's just mirroring whatever's in that database, but now we're trying to sort of like offer the best of both worlds, so you can have the sort of code-based configuration if you like that, or just keep using the sort of database schema as the source of truth for that.
And what I will say is that Directus has a cloud offering as well, so that you can pay for, you can host it in the cloud, and that makes it really easy if you don't want to open source it and run it on fly and run it in AWS and deal with all that headache. You can easily just one click set it up and have all of this in less than a minute. So cool. Thanks. Would love to hear after this any other questions that you might have, as well as what you'd like to hear about next time. And if anybody has anything that they'd like to speak about next time, would love to hear what your favorite talk would be, because we really want to get in speakers. Doesn't have to be long. Have a 10-minute talk on your favorite thing.
It's like Quentin's just begging for speakers. Please, anyone but me.
My vocal cords, man.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We'll switch back over. You can just turn that one off. I was like, I got this one now. All right. Awesome. There we go. And don't tell your branding people, but I rounded the edges and I put a little drop shadow on there. Thought it looked really cool. But that is it for our content for tonight. Thank you all for coming out. We actually, didn't come right up to the wire tonight. So there's still time for you to mingle, ask questions, all of the questions that you didn't want to be on the live stream. You can ask Quentin now, but feel free to mix and mingle, and we'll be here till about, 8, a little after 8. And yeah. Oh yeah. So Directus, they have some T-shirts. Was that all that was in there?
Yeah, I gotta give one to Quentin, but sadly, it's very limited.
Okay, well at this point we'll end the live stream so we don't broadcast Quentin's size over to the internet. But yeah, thank you all for coming, and we'll end this. See you next time.